Grab on. Do I eat with my fingers out like that? No. There you go. Good job.
Jonathan and Holly Cotter and Ryan and his brother Ethan were living in England, and little Ryan was diagnosed over there with spinal muscular atrophy.
The results that the psychologist got at that time was that my daughter would never reach her developmental IQ of greater than a 2-year-old. And at that time, everything you think about your family member and everything that you think about your daughter and your son going to college, getting married, was completely obliterated.
I remember myself, and probably also for Jonathan, you know, probably for 9 months at least, just leaving rooms and crying every day. And you want to be, you know, strong and not show that for your children, but the sadness of it, of just realizing that things you thought about for the future wouldn't happen.
The feeling of inadequacy and the feeling of that I may not have the strength to be able to take care of her.
Her care is pretty much 24/7. It's, you know, round the clock. Breathing treatments, this, TPN, medications, and, you know, just to be with her, it's a lot of work.
Sometimes I think of Ryan as almost the same level of care really as an infant, because he needs full attendance and care, from feeding to self-care, and he always needs monitoring for if he's lost his head control and he can't lift his head back up again. So always for safety, he needs that constant care.
Respite care is more just about a break.
We receive respite services and attendant care services that he can have while in the home, which families, they absolutely need those services as well in their own homes.
You know, as much as that would sound great, to have somebody come in so you wouldn't have to get up with Ryan 7 or 8 times a night, what you also realize is that, you know, part of my belief is that, you know, our house is kind of like our house too. And if you've got caregivers coming into your house throughout the day, and you've got caregivers coming into your house every single night, you don't have a life. We had heard about this place called Helen House, and we're very reluctant to go, as many people, because it was described as a children's hospice house. We kept hearing about it, and we kept now starting to talk to other families who said, no, it's not a house for dying, it's really a house for living, and that it really is such a special place with so many special features to it. The sensory rooms, the music therapy rooms, just the care that is so warm and giving.
So we knew we wanted to come back to Arizona, and our last stay as a family at Helen House, we said, you know, what are we going to be able to find like this when we come back to the States? And they said, well, you know, we're not really sure there is much out in the States.
All of a sudden, a community started to rally around this concept, and groups started talking more regularly about this. And it just kind of, we often say that the stars are aligned around this project because it just evolved.
Not a hospital. It is not designed as a hospital, it doesn't look like a hospital, and it doesn't feel like a hospital. It is a home, literally a home, where children will receive the care they require by qualified people and be encouraged to live as fully as possible, because children are just not small adults. They're entirely different, Their needs are entirely different. The needs of their families are entirely different. And Ryan House is an innovative option for treating these children that we sorely need.
The philosophy behind palliative care is a holistic approach, enhancing a person's time, making them feel comfortable.
Well, Ryan House could really be our respite. I mean, it could be. They're going to have therapists and lots of different people there, whether it's art therapy or music therapy, pet therapy. There are nursing staff. There's going to be lots and lots of people at the house that are going to be caring for these kids.
We don't have to worry about, oh, you know, we need a sitter, we need this, because she cannot be with a babysitter. You know, you have to know her medical needs also. So a place like Ryan House would be amazing. We can plan something and actually follow through instead of breaking plans all the time.
Ryan House will be staffed by people who truly know how to provide the needed care and love working with children. And this is an essential part of the overall care for children with life-limiting conditions.
Ryan House is going to be able to bridge that gap between medicine and family. When kids are in the hospital, they're in the hospital, and yes, there are things we can bring in comforts of home and make it the best experience possible, but it's not home. And Ryan House is really that in-between where families can come, still have their medical needs addressed, but it's not going to feel like a hospital. It's going to feel like a home.
The focus of Ryan House will be on respite care, which is a major need for the families of children that have life-limiting conditions. This care will be provided by trained medical professionals and under the direction of registered nurses and physicians.
Most of the people that we associate with don't have a handicapped child. Some do. We have made some friends, and that's a great thing. When you can talk about things that impact your family differently than the rest of the world, it makes life seem just a little bit more normal.
There are other kids and other families going through what you're going through, and that's how you compare notes, that's how you emotionally support each other. The sense of community that comes from being in a place like Ryan House is extremely powerful.
We're all a network in the community. I think with all the support groups that we have, we're all sort of a big family anyway, because everything is all interconnected. And I think the Ryan House will provide a center focus point so that we can all group together. It'll help us to be able to come together more.
It's very exciting for me to have an opportunity to help Ryan House become a reality, to bring this type of care to the children of Arizona, children and adolescents of all ages.
It's so hard to pour yourself in knowing that there will be an end. But you have to continue going and living every day the best that you can.